If I sell a card for $1,000, I did not magically make $1,000 of profit. And I think that's one of the biggest things people get wrong when they think about card show vendors. So in this video, we're going to talk about how much actual money you can make card show vending, why sometimes buying a $20 card is better than buying a $1,000 card, and what the margins actually look like. Let's start with just a really basic example here. Let's say I bought this card for $430 and I sell it for $500. On paper, that's it. That's a $70 profit. Not $500, just 70, right? And that's before fees. That's before table fees, setup fees, blah, blah, blah. There's so many fees that add up and stack. And we're not even talking about selling online, because something like selling on eBay just destroys any margin you could have possibly made on that $70. Revenue might sound sexy because it's like, wow, $500. The profit tells a very different story. But buying cheaper isn't automatically better. This card is one of my all-time favorite cards from the modern era. I think Cynthia's Garchomp is a beautiful card and one I would happily pay 85 to 87% for to get a nice copy in a PSA 10. Why? Because I know it's something that could potentially sell really quick if I wanted to. And if not, I'm actually kind of okay just holding on to it and keeping it in my PC for a bit until the right seller comes. Versus something like this. If you can't see, this is a Tag 9 Celebi alt art from Fusion Strike. I have had this for a couple months now. I would rather pay 85% on this card than 70% on this card. This card will sit for months and it's just going to tie up $100 or $80, whatever I paid for it, 70, who knows. I've had it for a couple months. I have to crack it. I have to crack it out of the case and sell it raw. Because one, people don't really like Tag, and two, people don't want a 9. It's just what it is. Why buy the 9 when they can just buy it in a 10 or buy it raw and keep it in a binder? There's a small segment of people who do like PSA or Tag 9s. They're not the majority though if they're buying slabs. Don't get me wrong, I like Celebi. This is one of the first alt arts I pulled out of Sword and Shield, was this from Fusion Strike. I think it's a great card. I think Fusion Strike's a fun set. It's $900 a box, but that's besides the point. Everything good is going for this card, except the grade and the case. Have I moved tag slabs before? Yes. Is it my favorite? No. I usually have to sell them for 15% under PSA 10 prices. So if this sells for $500, I'd probably sell this, if this was a Tag 10, for 15% under what this would be. That's just unfortunately how you have to move them. Do I wish PSA had competition? Yeah, of course. Competition is very healthy for a market. I don't think anyone should monopolize any market, but that's how it is. And if I want to sell and flip and get rid of these things faster and get money back, it's kind of what you have to do. Now, people might see super expensive cards in a vendor's display case and be like, wow, I know these are all one piece right now. Wow, that must be where he makes just a killing. He's probably making thousands of dollars on those slabs. It's not the case. I'm sorry to tell you guys. If I sold this card today for what I paid for it, I'd probably make like $100 to $200 profit. Is that great? Yeah, of course that's great. How many buyers at a card show are looking to drop $2,000 though? We're not going to Collecticon every weekend. We're not doing Front Row Card Show every weekend. We're doing like local card shows. I can tell you from experience, not a ton of people are walking around looking to drop $2,000 on a card. Do they exist? Yeah, of course. Does it happen? Yes, of course it happens. Is it common? No, it's not, unfortunately. So you see these big cards, think that's where the profit is. That's not at all where the profit is, especially when the margin can be so tight, because if you're looking to buy these cards, guess what? You're going to pay pretty strong on them. You're going to pay 87 to 90% on like a top grail. Where do you make the money? Great question. I'm so glad you asked. This is where you make the money. These smaller illustration rares, smaller cards, 20, 30, 15, $10. This is where you make the money. But why? Why is that where you make the money? Well, what did I say earlier? I said people came to card shows and they weren't looking to drop $2,000. What are they looking to drop? 10, 15, 20 bucks multiple times in that card show period, right? Your goal in vending is to turn over your inventory as quickly as possible. So if your inventory is tied up in $1,000 cards, it's not going to move that quickly. But if your inventory is much smaller and you can rotate it quicker, guess what? We're making more money. I would rather make $10 on a $50 card 5 times in one day than wait 2 months to make $50. And I think anyone would think like that too. It just makes sense when you explain it like that. Why would I wait 2 months? Because then on those smaller cards where I made $50 in a weekend, I could take that $50 and I could do it again and make X amount of dollars. And I could do that again and I can do that again over multiple weekends compared to waiting 2 months. That 2 month waiting period is what absolutely kills it because you're tying up money in something potentially bigger, or maybe it just wasn't a good card, it didn't sell, no one liked the character, whatever it is. Tied up capital kills. Something else that exists is trades. Let's say someone walked up to my table wanting to sell the Butthole Pikachu for $1,000. I'd say I give them 85%. Now, do I really want to pay $850 for this card? Yeah, probably. But let's say I didn't. Let's say I didn't have the cash on me, right? But I really want the card. That's when trades can be really advantageous. So I can say, hey, go ahead and look at my table. What do you see that comes up to $850 that you might like? Well, let's say they pick, the Cynthia's Garchomp and something else. This is just what I have next to me. Deal with the example. Cool. I trade that. I get this in. They get a card in. We both win, right? Vendors technically win a little bit more. Now, why do vendors win a little bit more out of trade deals, and why do so many vendors like trades? Because I valued this at $500, right? But from my example earlier, if we're still running that, I only paid $430 for it. That's a $70 profit that's unrealized yet. I have not made that $70, but I was able to take $500 and trade it into this. I only paid $430 for this. So now that $70 of unrealized profit now goes to this. This maybe is easier to sell. Maybe I can get a bigger markup on this one. Maybe this card is now out of print and is going to be worth more. The money I spent is less than if I paid cash for this. Now you can imagine how that can be super widespread and how fast that can compound. I've gotten cards for incredibly cheap. I think I paid 50% for this card because of trades. We valued it, I think, at 2.8K. I essentially paid $1,400 for it. Why? Because the products I had paid very little for. Some of it was sealed, and I got that sealed for a very good price. I picked this up for 50% off. That's the power of trades. I think something that people just don't really think about is the liquidity of the card when they're buying or selling it. We can look at something that's maybe a little more niche, something that's a little bit harder to sell. Great example. Magikarp from Paldea Evolved. Now, I don't know if the camera is going to pick this up, but this is actually Japanese and a PSA 9. Was this a great buy? Probably not. One, it's Japanese, not a big market for modern Japanese sellers. Two, it's a PSA 9. We already talked about why PSA 9s aren't popular. Was this the best transaction and the best use of, I don't even remember what I paid for it, $150 maybe? No, of course not. However, compare that to something like this Charizard VMAX from the Charizard UPC and a PSA 10. Incredibly popular Pokemon, incredibly popular card. I flip these all the time. My value for this card, because of trades, do you see where this is going? Because of trades, I traded in, my value was $450 in value. The market cost as of today, $820, was like $750. So a potential $300 to $400 gain I could make by selling this card. I know this card's super popular. I could list this on Facebook Marketplace and probably get rid of it this weekend. Honestly, I just might, since I only have one card show on Saturday. But do you see the difference here? One, kind of liquid, not really. PSA 9, Japanese, not a lot going for it. Charizard, VMAX, popular UPC, popular Pokemon, PSA 10, English. These are the things you should be going for. Yes, is it a little pricey? Yeah, of course. But the popularity of the card is what helped drive the liquidity of it. So when you see someone say, oh, I made $20,000 in sales at Collecticon, they didn't really profit $20,000. The entire game is their cost of goods sold, how much they paid for the cards, how quickly they can then take the cards and sell them, and how much it costs them to sell it. If you guys want, I'll do another follow-up video where I show you a full card show breakdown. I will show you everything I bought, sold, and traded, and the actual profits for that show. That'd be a fun video to do, actually. Let me know. But that's it for today. Today's day number 4 of making a YouTube video, long form piece of content every single day, and we're not stopping yet. Thank you guys for hanging out, watching the video. If you liked it, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. Peace and love. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.